Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So today we're going to deliver a topic about the fundamental of energy management system. So what we need to know to how to implement the system. Okay, so I believe that Dr. Nizam already introduced about me. So these are the topic that we're going to cover for today. First, we would like to know what are the scenario that going on at the moment, and second one, we will explore what are the global and local policy, and the fundamental of energy management system, and finally, what are the success factor and the challenges of doing the energy management. Right. So in anything that we are going to do, we have to know what are the reason behind it. So in the first section, we explain what is the global warming and climate change. So the global warming and climate change is the change of average temperature of a lower atmosphere, which steadily recorded increase by a few degrees in recent decades. So there are steadily increase of our average Earth temperature since uh, the revolution of industry and so on. So actually, what happened? So first, we have the sun that will produce the solar radiation energy to the Earth, and Earth will absorb this radiation and reflect back to the outer atmosphere. Unfortunately, because of the existence of greenhouse gases beneath the lower Earth of our atmosphere, so the solar radiation is trapped between the lower part of the atmosphere and the Earth's surface. Due to the increase of solar radiation that cannot be rejected from our Earth to outside of the atmosphere, so the heat is absorbed uh, um, in on our Earth surface. The more the greenhouse concentration we have, it will increase the amount of temperature on our surface. So in order to reduce the Earth the average temperature, we need to reduce the greenhouse gas concentration. So what are the impact if we have the steadily increase of average hour temperature or global warming? So there are many impact that we can divide it into few sectors. For example, our health. There are many infectious disease, the air quality, the poor air quality that we have, the respiratory illness. So the agriculture has the yield of agriculture already changed. We where we need change to our irrigation demand. So the our forest is the concentration of our forest is deteriorate, and we have a short supply of water resource. For example, some part of the earth having kemarau, and some of the part of the earth being heavily flooded, and we have the coastal erosion, coral bleaching, and so on. So these are the impact of the global warming and climate change. So we have to reduce the impact. So as just mentioned before, so the cause of the greenhouse gases and the cause of global warming and climate change is due to the concentration of greenhouse gases. So what are the greenhouse gases? So these are several gases that category as a greenhouse gases. We have the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and flue gas, and other gases. All right. So the majority of the gas are from the carbon dioxide, which generated from a fossil fuel combustion and industrial process. So in order to generate electricity, we need to uh, consume the fossil fuel that will generate the carbon dioxide. So which sector that produce the greenhouse gases? So we have the electricity and heat generation sector. Uh, And then we have the industrial process or manufacturing, construction, transportation, agriculture, and land use change and forestry. As we can see here, the biggest percentage of greenhouse gases producer is coming from the electricity and heat production, and then followed by the agriculture and the second one is agriculture, forestry, and other land use. Because not what does this percentage mean? Previously, we have a forest, so when we want to do the agriculture, we have to do the land clearing and so on. So that's why we have the land use, all right, and change of land use. And then finally, we have the industry, buildings, and transportation. So we do the energy where we're going to do the energy management, of course, in the industry and the buildings, all right. So the trend is worrying. As you can see in the figure in the slide, the amount of gas, oil and coal are steadily increased to meet the global demand of the energy. Okay, this is data from International Energy Agency. This is the global trend. Now we look in our country, Malaysia, also a similar trend. So we have from 1980 until 2017, we have steadily increased the amount of fossil fuel or the amount of fuel source that generate the electricity. So we have the natural gas, petroleum product, coal, biodiesel, and electricity. Right. So if we are not doing something, so we might have more fossil fuel being combusted, and therefore more greenhouse gases produced from our process. So in doing so, we have a global target which is set by United Nations under the Sustainable Development Goals. So I will not explain all the target, but I will only focus on the target number 7. There might also other objective that addressed by United Nations to reduce the effect of use of energy to the greenhouse gases. But I only focus on the objective number 7. So the goal number 7 says that is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. What are the issues? More than 1 billion people, which is located in the rural area, still live without the benefits of electricity. So we have to balance between the generation and the consumption. And then about 3 billion people still lack of access to the clean and safe cooking fuels and technology. So without having a clean and safe fuel technology, of course, it will result to the malnutrition and so on. However, while renewable energy power is rapidly increased, a comparable progress has not been seen in transportation and heating process. So we have seen there are many renewable power that being used at the moment. For example, in solar photovoltaic, solar thermal, biomass, and so on. But this is not being seen in the transportation except for electricity car and the heating process. And then despite our effort to reduce the energy intensity, the progress is not yet sufficient to meet the target. And therefore, the global policy under the Sustainable Development Goal stress that we need to have a clean energy for our future. And then we look what are the policy that we have in Malaysia. So it's already begin in 1979 when we have a national energy policy that stated a 3 objectives. First, the supply objective, which to ensure that we have an adequate, secure, and cost-effective of energy supply through developing the energy resources both from non-renewable and renewable energy, which means that the supply authority need to supply us a secure, safe, and adequate of energy. And on our part, the second objective that we have to play a role, which is to promote the efficient utilization of energy and discourage the wasteful of non-productive patterns of energy consumptions, whereby here we need to implement the energy efficiency measures. All right. And the third objective is environmental objective, which in order for us to supply and utilize the energy, we have to minimize the negative impact of the environment. All right. So we focus on the second objective, which is the utilization objective, where we have to use the energy efficiently. All right. So we have the global policy and we have the national policy, which is the utilization objective. And then we have the green technology policy, which set a criteria for what are the green technology are. So the criteria is to minimize the degradation to the environment, has a zero or low greenhouse gases emission, safe for use and promote healthy and improved environment for all form of life, conserve the use of energy and natural resources, and promotes the use of renewable resources. As we can see, all the criteria, they are not being stated just like this. They have a priority. First, as we can see here, it's conservation initiative, and then the efficient use, and then finally to promote the renewable energy. So the energy management system is consists of, because of this green technology, it's not only focused on the product and equipment, but also the system, and therefore energy management system is categorized as a green technology. All right. Apart from our policy, we have a commitment that we have to comply with, is to reduce our greenhouse gases intensity compared to our GDP by 45% in 2030, where we have the baseline based on the 2005, where 35% of this is unconditional basis, another 10% is upon receive the fund from the developed country. All right, so we have to reduce our carbon emission intensity by 45% in 2030 compared to our baseline in 2005. So these are the these are the initiatives implemented by the government. As we can see, we have already several initiatives that being started from 1996, and at the moment, we have the energy audit conditional grant, which the latest initiative by the government, where to encourage the study or the auditing of the energy consumption in industry. So the government will give the grants to the industry to perform the energy audit. If I would say that if you have to bear the cost, the cost for the energy audit itself is more than 60,000 to 80,000. But in this case, the government provide the grant so that we can apply for the grant and do the energy audit for free. Right. In particular, for energy efficient, we have the regulations in 2008, which is efficient management of electrical energy regulations. So this regulation encourage or enforce for the installation that has consumed more than 3 million kilowatt hour in 6 consecutive months to implement efficient energy management. So to comply with the regulation, we need to have a systematic management system to manage our energy. So now we look into what are the energy management system or sustainable energy management system. So these are the definition. So the definition of the sustainable energy management systems is a process of managing the energy consumption in the organization to assure that energy has been efficiently consumed. So we have a systematic way to manage our energy so that it is efficiently consumed. Okay, now the interesting part is the second part, which cover the whole organization. That's not only focused on the equipment and machine, but also the operators who are going to operate the equipment. So the energy management system is not only focused on the equipment. Say, for example, you change to the LED lighting system, you change to energy efficient chillers and so on. So it's not only focused on the equipment. It's also focused on the how we're going to operate the equipment or the appliances in efficient way, and what are the methods what are the procedure that we need to adhere with. All right. So the objective of energy management system, which is to reduce the energy requirement per unit of output. Let's say, for example, previously before we implement the energy management system, in order for us to produce 1 unit of product, we consume, let's say, for example, 100 kilowatt hour. So after implement the energy management system, we hope that we able to reduce from 100 kilowatt hour to maybe 50 kilowatt hour or 80 kilowatt hour per unit of products. All right. So then we convert it, we calculate the energy that we consume into a cost. This is where the energy management system not only focus on the technical part, but also the management part. Okay, the management part, because our top management or our bosses does not care how much kilowatt hour that we reduce. They only cares about dollar and cent. So we have to convert how much the energy that we reduce into the total cost that we can reduce. And then the third objective is to achieve and maintain the optimum energy procurement and utilization. So in doing the energy management system, we will look into what are the energy efficient equipment. Okay, because in the ISO, for example, ISO 15001, for the energy management system, it requires for the company to look into the design, into the purchasing, into the procurement process of buying the efficient electrical appliances or energy consumption, energy consumer appliances. Okay, so we in the energy management system, we will look into how we're going to use the system to procure the energy efficient appliances. Right. And then the fourth objective is to reduce the energy and cost without affecting the safety, health, and productivity, as well as the product quality. We are not going to do the energy management. We are not going to do the switch off the light if we feel that it will poses a threat to our safety and health. We are not going to reduce our chiller consumption if the user feel not comfortable in the office. We are not going to change our motor or equipment if our product is if we have many defect products. So energy management system also will look into how the implementation of efficient energy that not going to compromise the safety, health, and productivity of our company. And then finally, to minimize the negative environmental impact. Because when we reduce the energy, we also reduce the amount of carbon emission that we emit from our plant or from our operation. So in that sense, we are going to minimize the negative environmental effect, like what I just said before. The increase of greenhouse gases will lead into the global warming and climate change. And then why we need a system? Everybody can do the saving. Everybody can change the lighting system. Everybody can change the chiller system. Everybody can change to efficient motors. But why we need a system? Because when we do not have a system, it is difficult for us to provide results. It is difficult for us to do the continuous improvement. So that's why we need a system that going to guide us so that we going to have the result that we need or we target, and we can do a continual improvement. All right. And then without a system, we cannot prove to our top management this is how much we save. If we invest certain amount of money, this is our return on investment. This is our simple payback period. So that's why we need a management system to monitor, to target, to plan, and so on. And then without a system, we difficult to achieve a sustainable output. Okay, that's why we need a system so that we can have a sustainable energy management initiative. So we need a system. And then finally, if we have a system, if we have money to being a certified or being competent or being recognized by international body and so on, then we can have a certification. All right. So in Malaysia, we have two kind of certification for energy management, which uh, which is introduced by MGTC under MEPS, ASEAN Energy Management Scheme, and we have the global certification, which is ISO 50001 that that I'm going to explain after in few seconds. So these are the scenario. This is the scenario if we do not have a sustainable management system. So the graph shows that if we do not have a sustainable energy management system in our factory or our machine, so if we if the energy increase, so we start to do some measures that we're going to have a cost reduction or energy reduction. But if we not monitor our progress, so we might what call it we might forget our target. So the energy consumption will increase, and therefore we if we aware our energy is increased, then we start to do some measures again. So this is trend is unsustainable, all right, without a sustainable system, without an energy management system. However, if we have energy management system, we start to do some saving, and then we always monitor, and always monitor. So we can have a lower, we can have a low investment cost, medium investment cost, and high investment cost to achieve our target. Right. So like I have mentioned before, we have the ASEAN Energy Management Scheme, which is introduced by ASEAN. This is being promoted by Malaysia Green Tech. So it's called MEPS, Energy Management Gold Standard. So here we have 3 levels of certification: 1 star, 2 star, and 3 star. First, the 1 star is where you develop the energy management. The component that you must have in this 1 star certification, you have the energy policy committee and the energy management component. And then you conduct the awareness training, then you will get the 1 star. And then for the 2nd star, you have to conduct the detailed energy audit and get this percentage of saving about 5%. Then you're going to have a 2 star energy management gold standard certification. And then finally, for the 3 star energy management gold standard, you have to integrate with other management system. For example, you can integrate with safety and health environmental system. You can integrate with environmental management system. You can integrate with the safety management system or product quality management system. Okay, so in order for you to have a 3 star energy management gold standard, you need to integrate with the existing management system. All right. So what are the energy management that we have to focus in doing the energy management gold standard? We have 7 criteria, which is the management, organization, process, information, financial, and achievement. So basically, we have the top management role, we have the energy team, we have the investment, we have the support system, and so on. So these are the 7 elements or component that have in energy management gold standard or MEPS energy management scheme, whereby almost same, but this is for ISO 50001. This is globally recognized globally. It is based on the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, and Action. So these are the components that consist in the ISO 50001. First, we have the leadership on the top part of it, the top management commitment, then translated into the energy policy. Then we have the planning, how to set a baseline, what are the target, what are we going to do, and then we we do the operation and maintenance of our equipment and procedure and so on. And then we have the management, sorry, we have the performance evaluation and we have the management review. So it's a cycle of plan, do, check, and action. Okay, so what are the components? Almost same. We have the energy policy, we have the energy team, we have the energy report, we have the energy target and plan, we have the communication plan, training plan, awareness, legal requirement, we have the procurement, we have the training. So in order the resources to support the implementation of energy management system. Basically, the two systems are same. However, the ASEAN Energy Management Scheme is recognized only for ASEAN country, but for the ISO 15000, it is globally recognized. But this is for the ISO 50001, there is no 1 star, 2 star, or 3 star. It's just that you have a certification or not. Right? But we need to do the system. What we need to do the management. But we need to do the energy management systematically. So we have a system. All right. So what are the success factors of doing the energy management system? Okay. First of all, in any energy management or in any management system, we need to have a commitment from our top management. Without their blessing, without their commitment, it is almost difficult for us to implement the energy management or any management system. So we must have a top to bottom hierarchy. We need to have a top to bottom management approach. All right, and then it will be translated into the energy policy, and the policy is being distributed to all the users inside the organization. So first we have the top management commitment. And then the second one, we need a competent energy manager. We need a people that knows in depth how to manage the energy. We need a people who have a technical knowledge. Not only technical knowledge, we need a people who have a management skill to manage the energy. As I mentioned before, in energy management does not involve a technical part. It's also involve the management. So you must possess a management skill. Uh, the first step or the first test for your management skill is to buying the commitment from your top management. It require a hard work. You have to convince the top management and so on. So you need a competent energy managers. And then if you do not want to have a certification, that is okay. But you need to have a management system. You need to do it systematically. You need to have a procedure. You need to have a target. You need to plan when is your baseline. You need to plan what are you going to do. You need to have a certain target of saving. And then you need, in achieving the target, you need to have a procedure. You need to understand your organization. You need to understand the risk. You need to understand the issue. What are the external parties? What are the internal parties? What are their interests? What are the user interests? What are the top management interests? You need to understand. By having energy management system, you will do it systematically. And then from procedure that you develop, then you need to evaluate. You need to evaluate your saving target. You need to evaluate your saving. You need to evaluate the management system that you introduce. For example, you need to evaluate whether your policy is good or not. You need to evaluate whether your working procedure is being complied or not. So you need a evaluation and you need a management review. And then finally, and then finally, you must have an effective investment. When we do the energy management, you need to do from a low investment cost to medium investment cost, and finally the high investment cost. You need to prioritize. Otherwise, the management is difficult to accept your proposal. You need to convince them from a low investment cost that going to have high impact of saving. So what are the low investment costs that going to have high impact of saving? So you need to understand your organization. You need to understand your you need to understand your energy behavior. You need to understand your energy profile and so on. All right. And then, of course, without a success, uh, there is always a challenges. There is always a challenges. So here I list 5 challenge that that we face when do the energy management. So who's are going to own the management system? Is it top management? Is it a facility department? Is it engineering department? So who are going to own it? Because sometimes the energy is part of the work that you have in your organization. So ownership is always a problem. Unless that's why we need a top management. We need a top management blessing. They will instruct who are going to own the system, who are going to be a leader, who are going to do the plan. So the ownership is challenge. And then the management of the system. I mean, who are going to monitor, who are going to set the target, who are going to monitor. Either your user will follow the instruction or not. Okay, so the system management, without a competent energy managers, without a competent person, without a proper system, it's always a challenge to have a management system. Okay, I believe that for some company they have an ISO. Without a ISO controller document, without an ISO expert executive or personnel in your office, it's difficult to maintain the management system, right? And then the user behavior. Yeah, you need to educate your user almost every month, every week. You need to aware them. You need to inform them through email, advertisement, poster, flyer, so on. So the user behavior, I would say, that contribute significantly to your energy management. And then, of course, it's, for example, for us in UTEM, we have a large scale of buildings. We have library, we have chancellery building, we have faculties, we have masjid, and so on. So without a proper metering device to monitor the energy consumptions, it's almost difficult to do it efficient way. Because if you rely on if you rely on the committee itself, they do not have the manpower, they do not have the energy or resources to implement the energy management throughout the campus. So we need a team that not only on the management part, but also the implementation part on site. At the faculty, we have a team. In mosque, we have a team. In library, we have a team. And then this building have their own metering device, so that we can monitor we can monitor the energy consumption based on based on the target that the energy management or top management decide. And then procurement. This is where, without an energy policy that stated, you have to look into the energy efficient device, or when you want to construct a new building that consider the energy efficient design building, it's difficult to do the energy management system appropriately. Okay, because procurement always want to go for a cheaper price, but as you know, the energy efficient equipment at the moment, relatively, I would say that it will drain your pocket. Okay, it will drain your pocket. So it needs huge investment. It needs huge amount of money to invest in a new high efficient motor and so on, a new high efficient chiller and so on. So you need to educate them. You need to educate them. You need to tell them why we need this and so on. You need to prove to them by using financial assessment. This is the amount of energy that we're going to save. This is the amount of energy. This is the amount investment that we need. Then this is when we're going to get back our investment. So you need to have that kind of knowledge. So as you can see in the figure here, so if you can see it from the iceberg here, so the management system of energy, we need a top management commitment. We need a system and policy. That is the bottom part. The people only saw the beauty or the success, the amount of energy that you save, but the hard work from the people, the energy manager, the energy team, the training and awareness, the control and monitoring, the system audit, internal audit, external audit, you can name it. We have the internal audit in UTM, we call it MEPS. We monitor the system, we have the policy and so on. So these are the what we call the bottom or the core of the energy management. So some guide for you to implement the saving, but apart from the system, that's the general part. That's the general requirement of energy management system. Okay, but of course you can have some guideline or some energy tips for you to implement an efficient energy management. So when we do the initiative or the action plan or the measures that to achieve our energy saving target, we must begin with energy conservation. We must begin with energy conservation because energy is as we can see is E kW, power, time, and hour. Power times of times, hours. So if we reduce our time, we can still have the same equipment. We can still have the same equipment, but we reduce our time, then we can reduce our energy consumption. Definitely, this stage involves no cost or low cost. And then after we do the energy conservation, then we can start to look into the energy efficiency. Here, most of the measures, most of the action, or most of the implementation that we're going to do here require investment. Either it's a low cost, medium cost, or high cost. So this is where we need to change the KW. We need to reduce the KW. For example, we change the conventional lighting system 36 watt to 18 watt. We install the high efficient motors. We install the VSD and so on. So this will reduce your power as well as your energy consumption. And then after we do the energy conservation and energy efficiency, then later on we look into how we can save our costs. Doing the renewable energy, it does not reduce your energy consumption. It will not reduce your energy consumption. You still use the same amount of energy, except that by having a renewable energy, you have a different source of energy. For example, before you have a energy source from TMB, by having a renewable energy, then you have an alternative source. For example, we have a solar photovoltaic system. So from there, by installing a solar photovoltaic system, you have significantly lower your energy costs. Still, we use the same amount of energy, but we reduce the amount of energy cost as well as we reduce the amount of carbon emission that we emit from our organization. So this, of course, if you want to construct a new building, if you want to have a new office and so on, these are the design that you need to consider. This is the energy efficient design that we stated in the MEPS National Standard 1525, which focus on the several factors. For example, the orientation of the building, where the door should face, where your window should located, and so on. And then the energy efficient design also consider the daylighting, the facade design, the ventilation, thermal installation, landscaping, and finally the renewable energy. So I would say that if you want to construct a new building, this is sort of factors or component that you need to consider in constructing the energy efficient design building. Some conservation measures that we can do, for example, we set our room temperature between 24 to 26 degrees Celsius, switch off the aircon when not in use, set the time for our aircon, when necessary, just use the fan, make sure that when we switch on our aircon, make sure that all the opening window should be closed because it is at a conditioned area. And then you do some maintenance for your air conditioning system. For example, clean up your filters, for your fan, clean up the blade regularly. All right. So these are the energy conservation measures. Some of the measures here doesn't need any cost. And for lighting, you can de-lamp. For example, if you have 2 tubes and the lux level is enough for that purpose of location. For example, we have 2 tubes for walkway, then we might consider to reduce 1 tube and only use 1 tube for the lighting system. And then switch off the light when not in use. Install timer or motion sensor. This will need some investment cost and maximize the daylighting. And for office equipment, nowadays we have a printer that have an eco mode. You can set your printer, your scanner machine, or your computer using an eco mode. Of course, and a healthy lifestyle use there instead of you use the lift or escalators. Switch off the lift and escalators during public holiday or weekend. This is for government office or for the office, commercial office and so on, but not for the shopping mall because everybody going to shopping mall during the weekend or public holiday. If you switch off the lift or escalator, people might going mad at you, right? And then we have some efficient measures. Of course, you replace with the non-efficient aircon with the efficient one, inverter. Use high efficient motors. Replacing retrofit your lighting system using LED. And for office equipment, you might think you can consider to buy an energy efficient electrical appliance. For example, you buy a new TV that have 5-star ratings. So in our market, we have this star certification for electrical appliances. This is what we call MEPS, minimum energy performance standards. There are 6 items. So when you buy an electrical appliance, you can consider to look into this star certification. There are 6 of them: air conditioning system, aircon, lighting, domestic fan, TV, refrigerator, and washing machine. So these 6 items, you can look their star rating and you have when you want to change your old appliances and so on. All right. And then for a procurement process, you can look into the government green procurement. Now we have a GGP 3.0. So, and then you can look into the My Hijau directory at the Green Tech website. they have a lot of equipment, a lot of products, a lot of systems that have a MyHijau certification, which is I would say that it is energy efficient equipment. So you when we want to have a new equipment, then you can look into this kind of products from MyHijau certification products. So these are the impact. These are the what we call the joy of doing the energy management. As you can see here, after 4 years of implementation, we already saved almost 4.5 million ringgits, and we able to reduce about 8,680 metric tons of CO2. This is our baseline back in 2015. If I'm not mistaken, the baseline is 2015. So after 5 years of implementation, after 4 years of implementation, we able to reduce our energy cost 4.5 millions, and for the energy, we able to reduce 12.3 million kilowatt hour. And joy, this is good if we have a certification. So UTM, I'm proud of it. We have a 1-star certification. We get this certification. We got this certification in 2016. And for 2-star, we have the certification in 2019. So we at the moment we have 1-star and 2-star energy management gold standard certification. And currently we already being audited for 3-star EMGS gold standard. So inshallah by 1 or 2 months we will able to get the 3-star energy management gold standard. So recently we been awarded by the National Energy Award as the winner of the energy management for energy management in large building. And then we have the special award for the Institutes of Higher Learning for the implementation of energy management. And we represent Malaysia in ASEAN, and Alhamdulillah, we are the winner of the large building for building and industry category for energy management. Okay, so these are the achievement, these are the recognition we as a UTM should be proud of. And I think that's all. Thank you very much for listening. I hand back to our moderator, Dr. Nizam.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Hafiz, for a great presentation. As you can see here, with the energy management system, we can save more than 4 million, right?
Yes.
So I hope it's really can give an impact to other industries. Okay. So for now, I'm open for Q&A session. If you have any question, you can just unmute yourself and then ask the presenter. Okay, I have a question.
Yes, Dr. Nizam.
So if we can see here, it is very important to have energy management system in the industry.
Yes.
So basically, it should be one staff or one officer is responsible for the management system, energy management system. So how can they be certified for this area?
All right. So of course, you need to go for a training, or you need to go for a you need to have a certain experience to perform the energy management. So in Malaysia, we have 2 bodies that conducting the training. First is Malaysia Green Tech, Green Tech Malaysia. They have the certified energy manager training course. And then we have the MySco, who also MySco is a Malaysia Association of Energy Service Company. They also conduct the energy manager training course. Then from there, sorry, from training you have to you must produce a report within a certain time frame. I would say that between 6 months to 1 year. where you will gain the experience of managing the energy in your workplace, and then you can submit a report to the secretariat first, either to my EXCO or to Green Tech Malaysia, and then they will send your report to Energy Commission or Suruhanjaya Tenaga for endorsement of registered electrical energy managers. In the training session, you will have to do the presentation and you have to do the proposal, and from there, the officer from Suruhanjaya Tenaga will interview you. How you going to manage your energy at your workplace, and certain key element that needs to have in the energy management system. Right. So basically, if you want to be a certified, there are two ways. There are two training providers that can assist or guide us to be a certified energy managers.
Right. Thank you. So basically, for the people who already certified with the certification, does they need to renew the certification in certain period, or it's valid for infinite time?
So definitely they have to renew. Definitely they at the moment the Suruhanjaya Tenaga only allowed you to have 1 year. Within 1 year you have to renew because they want to exam you. Either you practice or not the energy management. If you are not practice it, so it's difficult to get a certification. It's just you have a knowledge, but you do not amal it, kan? You not implement the knowledge, so it is wasteful. Okay,
All
so
right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Hafiz.